It's Tuesday, December 2nd. The weather is dry. We've got fog out there to talk about. We got folks in the Sierra trying to make snow, but it's too warm. Some concerns there at the snowmaking for the larger ski resorts. We're going to look at the latest models today. We're going to look at the forecast, what you can expect, and when the next rain is coming. We'll look at the percents of rainfall average. I think for how dry it's been, you're going to be impressed. These percents of average for the state come from Jan Knoll, who's an excellent climatologist. We've got nature snacks, and we'll talk snowmaking woes, and we do this every day. So come along for the ride. Join us. Subscribe if you can, or if you will, and tell a friend. Okay, so here's the fog. There it is in the Central Valley. It's cleared off in parts of the North State. You can see it. Let me see if I can put my little arrow. Right? So it's clear. But there is fog reforming on 99. I picked it up out of Chico. Some fog reforming now. This is, mid-morning right now. So it's going to kind of slowly come back. But the fog is still a thing. These are dense fog advisories from Sacramento all the way south to Bakersfield. Clear along the coast. Beautiful weather in Southern California. They've been experiencing temperatures in the 60s. Northern California in the sun, places like Crescent City. You've been, Crescent City, go about 57 degrees today, which is not bad for December 2nd. So North Star trying to make snow. And truthfully, it's not going well. Temperature at North Star right now is, I think, it's 40, let's see what it is, 44 degrees. And I think I can get this going for you. This is a live camera from North Star. It's one of the struggles with, there we go. But you'll see, they were making snow yesterday because they're desperate, man. Like Mammoth's open. The snow guns aren't, those are all snow guns. All these sticks going up the hill, those are guns. And that's the snow that's been made over the last couple of days. And I was just talking to a friend a local up at Tahoe, and we were talking about, can you get enough man-made snow on this hill to ski? You can, but you can't. In other words, you can pack out a run, but it'll be very narrow, and you've got, many people skiing down a trail that's not very wide. It's hard to get coverage with snowmaking. And you can see this is the terrain park they were working on yesterday. So, it's just tough. The snow temperature is going to drop a little bit as we go into tomorrow morning. They'll be making snow late tonight and through tomorrow morning as well. But the reason I bring up snowmaking is because there's no rain coming, not for a while. And this is underscored by the half pipe at North Star. So, and what happened this morning is this system went through. You can probably pick it out yourself right here. This guy went through. And that was enough to mix up the inversion just a little bit. And the inversion's building back in as this trough digs and this ridge, the main ridge, amplifies. That's big. It's a big ridge of high pressure. And we've had it for a little while, and we're going to continue to see it for this week and beyond that. We'll see that in the computer models coming up. But in the nation's central Rocky area, they do have some snow advisories. They are getting, what's happened is this ridge of high pressure is here, and then you get a little bit of a trough here. And that trough is where the inclement weather is, and there's the East Coast weather, which we will soon talk about as well. But so what does it all mean? What does it all mean? It means I hope you got a cup of coffee. I got some awesome live pictures set up today. That's just beautiful landscaping, and that's that landslide. I keep bringing it up only because before I knew that, I'd look at that, and I, as a amateur geologist, I'd be like, what is going on there? But then when you find out it was a landslide, you're like, oh, shit, it's all alluvial stuff that just came right off the northwest side of that mountain. It's huge. Mount Shasta. Let's put a loop on it, see some of the clouds. These are the clouds that were dropping snow and winter storm concerns up in Idaho, Montana, in those areas. But it's missing us. It's further to the east, and you can kind of see the motion on it. Lake Shasta today, Wairika, 55, 53 degrees. This is shot from Wairika. Oh, by the way, Wairika, which is a kind of a dry area, typically because it's on the backside of the hills, but it's still far north. They're at 105% of rainfall average for the year thus far. That's pretty good, considering, right, it hasn't rained in a while. You forget how wet it was just a few months ago. This is a shot that I like. This is Goose Lake. And we talked about Goose Lake, and that's not what I wanted. Let's see what we're looking at. Sometimes it'll do that to me. There it goes. Okay. And that's Mount Shasta off in the distance. And Goose Lake to the right. And Goose Lake dries up. I didn't know that. Like 20 miles by 10 by 28 miles. Big, huge lake. And occasionally, seems like about every decade, it dries up and turns into a playa. It's kind of alkaline. This is Crescent City. If you look hard, you can see the ocean over here. And we're looking right. It's funny how they put these cameras in. I like them for scenic, but most of these UC San Diego cameras are used for firefighting. So they don't give an S that the tower's in the way. They're just looking for smoke. And I'm like, God damn it, why would you put the tower there? Why don't you put the camera on the other side? But they're looking, it's utilitarian. It's not for chucks and giggles like we're enjoying. Crescent City, day 57. Crescent City, just 97% of rainfall average. That's amazing for how little rain we have been having. And now we move forward. We move down the coast a little, but inland we go to Almanor, Lake Almanor. Lake Almanor is 55 degrees today for a high, will be, and it's 120% of rainfall average. And I do see lots of controlled burns around the area, which I like seeing. Sutter Buttes, beautiful shot. Looking towards my hometown, Paradise. Oh, I can see it too. That's Sawmill Peak right there. I could tell you some stories about sneaking beers up there. That's Sawmill Peak. That's just above the Feather River Canyon. Butte Creek is right here, I believe. And Paradise is kind of right in this ridge in the middle here. Orville's down in here in the Orville Lake. But Sutter Buttes, not the world's smallest mountain range. Turns out they don't measure mountain ranges. So it was a sales, at least my interpretation of the data, was a sales pitch back in the 1800s when the railroad came in and they were trying to get settlers to come out so they could, California, it was a sales job, right? It's an easy sell, but they needed people, the East guys, the big money guys, the railroad guys, go get people living out there, get people growing fruit out there so we can ship it back on the railroad, back and forth, making money. Kind of California capitalism, right? Sort of definitely, the United States capitalism. But this is Sutter Buttes. I've got stuff for you on that. It's 57 degrees. This is the number I thought was interesting. 190% of rainfall average at the Sutter Buttes. Remember when it was raining all that? Almost 200% of rainfall average for this time of year, not for the full season. And we do need to see rain, but I bring these percents of average up because we're fortunate that we don't need the rain because we're over 100% of average. This is Fresno. Fresno today is going to go 55 degrees. And Fresno, 200% of rainfall average. 200% of rainfall average to date. Visibility bad, dense fog advisory there. This is Point Conception. This is Jalama, which if you haven't gone yet, when you go, I want you to text me and tell me about it because especially go this time of year. I hate to crowd anything out, but everything's crowded. There's no secrets anymore. This used to be kind of a secret spot. People didn't really know about it. It's got awesome campground down there, awesome little store. Now to get a place down there is difficult. The surf's pretty good. It's more of a windsurfing spot. But if you go around the corner down to Tarantulas and up inside the ranch, it gets way better. But this is, that's Point Conception. That's the tip of Point Conception. They are at a 300% of rainfall average. Yeah, right? So that's good, right? We're doing good for rainfall there. As you go further south, these rainfall averages are increasing because you forget how much rain we got. Glendale is going to go 68 degrees today, Pasadena as well. And it's 250% of rainfall average in the Pasadena-Glendale area. And I didn't realize that Pixar started down in Glendale, but it did because it wanted to be close to Disney, which is in Glendale as well. So I'm learning about Southern California. That's kind of the fun thing about these live cameras is I get to learn little bits and pieces. And this is Big Bear Lake, which has never been. It's rare that I say that because I swear to God I've been everywhere in California. Not around the world, dude. I've been to Europe once. I've been everywhere up and down this state. But this is Big Bear Lake. And the eagles, I think, are in this, when they come back. They've been coming back to the nest. I think the eagles are in these trees here, up here, and that's where the camera is. This is at the far end of the lake. Big Bear is 67 degrees today. They are at 270% of rainfall average. That is the end of the California Love Tour, if you will. Here is the National Weather Service. Here's what they're saying, or what they want us to hear. Coastal flood advisory. If you're on the Marin Bike Trail or on Lucky Drive, you know where you are, the higher tides in the mornings, up over 6 feet, minor flooding. No big deal. It's scary looking. You're like, whoa, coastal flood advisory. And it's like, wow, that's scary because you think waves and tsunamis, but it's really just a higher tide than average. The blue on the coast is a beach hazard statement. Okay, I'm going to tell you. I was out the other day in the water, and I like to crab, and I know where to go, and you probably know where to go too, but it's getting to be a thing. But the dudes were killing it the other day, killing it. One guy had 8, right? I think the limit's 10. Big crabs in a short amount of time. I don't know. But the reason I bring this up is because the beach hazard statement, it's for you guys. You crabbers suck. You guys can't swim. You're all in your waders, and you get your big rod, and you're going out there on a higher tide, and the swell's big today. That's part of the beach hazard statement. You're going to get jacked around. I know. I hate to profile crabbers, but it has been my experience that you guys aren't. That's not fair. I can't broad brush, but it seems as though maybe not your thing. You know what I mean? Maybe it's not your thing. Crabbing is, fishing is, and a lot that's what you get. You get these lake fishermen. I grew up on Orville Lake. The lake fishermen, they crush it. You know, they're killing the bass on Orville Lake, whatever, the bluegill, whatever the hell we had in there. You used to even have trout in there off the West Branch. But you get out in the ocean, just because you fish doesn't mean you can fish in the ocean. The ocean is a whole nother effing animal. I figured that out real quick when I was young because my dad used to take me to the ocean. But you figured it out, so be careful. I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything. I'm just saying, no, crabbers. Because I see it. I watch. I paddle out. I watch where you stand. I watch, not all of you, but some of you really need to rethink what you're doing and how you're doing it. Just because it's so, like on a day like today, like I won't even go crabbing today. There's no reason. The tide's nice, good tide for it, but in the higher tide, you're up against the rocks. You're wading out in. There's rip currents. Waders are super cumbersome. It's easy to get pulled out. And I've seen guys get pulled out. Smaller days, but still seen guys get pulled out. Dense fog advisory along the coast. High surf advisory for San Luis Obispo and Santa Maria. And the air quality alert continues from Los Angeles to Temecula to San Clemente. That air quality alert is about the inversion, the really shallow inversion that has allowed the fog to persist, which is a product of no rain, right? A high pressure. And we're going to continue with these watches, and advisories are going to continue because there's no big change coming. Whew, I do this every day. Did I say that? Okay, I did say that. This is, I kind of like this. You chime in on this. Because people are like, what do you do? What's your name of your channel? What's your thing? And I'm like, okay, well, let's call it, I kind of like California weather meets California life. Where California weather meets California life. Because I'm not just doing weather here. We're doing a bunch of stuff. I shouldn't ask you guys, but I've gotten really good ideas from you guys, actually, because we've been doing this a year now, right? About a year. I did a little longer than that, but I was sucking hard the first couple months because I didn't get it. I still don't get it because it's not TV, but I'm starting to get it. And if you haven't figured it out yet, I'm a persistent as hell. I am really persistent. I may not be the smartest guy on the planet, but goddamn, I'm persistent. This is today's highs, forecast highs. Not bad. Central Valley, though, right? There you go. There's your cool temperatures in the 50s from Redding. Redding gets a little sun, but Chico all the way down to Bakersfield and down into Fresno is very chilly. Highs just in the 50s. Along the coast, away from the fog, you're going to be in the 60s, which is, that's been going on. And then tomorrow, same thing. We've been getting a lot of the same thing stuff going on. This is the HRRR model. The white is the fog. Here is where we are. I'm going to roll through it. And you see the fog, sort of a road, but it also gets covered by clouds. By the way, this is the system that went through that helped break up the inversion. Is it a system? No, but it's a little bit of disturbance, a little bit of wind, a little bit of vertical wind as well. And then it looks like the fog wants to clear all the way out by this afternoon. I don't see that. But again, this is not the bestest model. And then you see some higher clouds come in, which would indicate a little bit of a wind shift. We are expecting some wind in here on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. So maybe that's what it's picking up on. Yeah, maybe that's it. So Wednesday, I think we will see some clearing for the first time in a while. There's that ridge of high pressure. This is a GFS. This is what you tune in for. Look at that ridge of high pressure, trough, and then the East Coast weather, which in here is just nasty. They're still reverberating from all the trouble they had yesterday on Thanksgiving on the traveling. Okay, so let's look at the model. You know where we are. You know what the ridge looks like. You see that trough digging, and see it digs here, pumps here. And that ridge is big. Oh, let's go back. I want to show you this is the Wednesday thing. So here, that's that low right here. This area, this is what's happening kind of right now. There's that area that went through. Little disturbance. It's not fuel. This is engine. This is mixing of air vertically and horizontally. And then here we are Wednesday. See, there's Wednesday afternoon. So that's a weak zero system, hence the colors, the positive vorticity numbers, almost in the negative, barely in the positive zone, but enough to perhaps mix out the fog and then turns back into a ridge. And that ridge hovers, 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 and then there it is. Your big change comes on December 13th. Saturday, December 13th. It's a ways off. It's a ways off. And it looks significant. And it looks like it's got follow-up. But that's the 13th. Okay. And then, oh, you know what else you could do? If you think, and if you're watching this right now, you're an interesting bird for sure. But do you think I spend too much time on the models? It's what I'm going to do. It's what I like. But I'm just wondering if maybe I should just do this with the camera off, because I'm kind of doing what I do. But it's a lot of time, right? It's a lot of time, and it's a lot of minutia. But I'm just curious. I'm not looking for compliments, by the way. I appreciate compliments, but I'm really looking for that. I'm just trying to go, what works for everybody? Because the thing I learned, okay, I got a second. This is sea level pressure. Okay, let's just do this. Sea level pressure and wind and rain. And then there's that little bit of a wind there. See Wednesday morning, see the lines? We talked about that, offshore winds. Remember that whole thing yesterday with the friction of the surface? And that's going to be a bit of an offshore wind. That gets rid of the fog right there. And then we'll push through, and what we're looking for is the 18th. Fog, a lot of blah, 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 nothing. More of the same, more of the same, more of the same. This whole week into next week. And then Jesus, it's a long way. December 13th. That's a front. That's an extratropical storm that would be awesome. But in the meantime, it's steady as she goes. Here is how what I was going to say, this is a rainfall accumulation. If you got something to say, like my dad, who's awesome, smartest guy I know, but he had so much to say, but he wouldn't say it. He would dress it up, like people did. It's sort of an old school thing, but you would dress up your information kind of to make it more, flowery and more, I want to say robust, but kind of sometimes using too many words to explain something simple. Unless you're talking to PhD candidates, you want this information. I want you to go, oh, this, therefore that. Otherwise, it doesn't stick unless you're a PhD or, an incredibly unique person. So what I've always learned in television especially is the less, and the internet's changing it too, but when I started in television, it was all about being, sort of an announcer and being your words are perfect and your sentence structure is perfect and this and that. And in the meantime, the message gets lost. It's really just performance. It's just a performance. And really what I think is so important in life, and I always have, and I've been fortunate because it kind of worked. I just timed it out. If I had 10 years earlier, it wouldn't have worked. But my whole thing was, I want you to get this. I want you to get it as best I can purvey. Otherwise, if I go through this, and this is kind of a knock on TV meteorologists, not even meteorologists, most of them, but is they want you to know how much they know or how much they think they know. And that's dangerous. And so if I went over this real quick and I said, oh, there's a 500 millibar vorticity chart with southwest winds and 320 degree pulse and, 800 millibar this and 600 vorticity that and wind shear and Bernoulli's equation and, blah, 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 blah. And I can do that. I can do that. But you get nothing. All you do is go, that guy's really smart. And that's what a lot of people did. And that's what television, especially in the weather world, was. And kind of tends to be a little bit still. I don't think it's nefarious. I just think it's the nature. You want to sound smart. You just want to sound smart. Dennis used to get mad at me. Kind of just a little therapy session. Dennis used to get mad. I love Dennis Richmond. He and I were one of my favorite people in the world. Sitting next to him was the best thing that ever happened to me for 30 some years. But he would get mad at me because he's like, he would be like, don't, and he was right because he was from the older school. He was 10, 15 years older than me. He was like, you cannot say that because it's not correct. And he was right. He was right. But the world was changing too. So he and I, we didn't fight because whatever he said, I did. And he eventually warmed up to my style. And he's called me Surfer Dude, which was kind of, I think at first it was a knock. And then I think it became an affectionate term. Anyway, that was kind of, I miss Dennis a lot. Okay, so these are the rainfall accumulation. So what you're going to see is what you expect to see, right? This is all the way through next weekend. This is all the way through next week. And then here comes that deal on the 12th, 13th. So, right? So that's a dry period over 7 days. And then this is the whole, and you'll see that big ridge. See how everything's going up over? That's the ridge. And then you'll see that system drop in. You know where it's coming from, right? You'll see the rainfall or the vorticity footprint right there. Boom. That's on the 13th, 14th. It's way down the road. Okay. All right. National map. East Coast getting hammered. They're getting used to it, and it's starting to wind down a little bit, but it was bad for a while. Kind of bad still today in New York, Washington. Rain, heavy rain, snow, sleet. Kind of nuisance stuff in here. It's real cold. This is the radar, by the way. You knew that. Here, I'll put a loop on it too. I think I can. It's real cold in that region, but it's pretty dry. But what's impressive are those rainfall percents of average I showed you. They really are. For, again, like I said, Big Bear, 270% of rainfall average. Fresno, 200% of rainfall average. San Francisco, 150% of rain. I mean, rainfall, actually, I got to check that real quick. I didn't even check San Francisco. I don't know if I can get it. Yeah, here we go. Dang, lost it. Had it. But rainfall percent's well above average in the state, which is awesome for this time of year, considering the pattern I just showed you. So here's all the watches and warnings, generally storm-related, winter storm warnings, winter storm advisories. Travel the next 24 hours, especially to LaGuardia. Chicago is good, again, that airport. And then above average for temperatures, which we saw, 6 to 10 day outlook, below average rainfall. This all makes sense based on what we looked at. So we're, you kind of, that's a good way to tell if you're in line. Few earthquakes today. These are all over 2.5, but a couple of them this morning. This was a 5.3 in Russia, another 5.2 in Japan in the last 24 hours, another 5.1 in Alaska, another 4.2 there up in the Aleutians. So I've been really active on the western ring of fire, the edge, but right in here, these three areas, pretty big. And it is always fascinating to me how that's connection, right? Those are connected. Like you're like, oh, that's a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. This whole thing moves, and it's got little stress points all over it. And it's just fascinating to me. And so the few earthquakes, these are all over 2.5 in California. I think there's some. Are there? No, none over 2.5. Huh, I thought I saw 2. No, I guess not. Okay, that's good. No too big earthquakes. Here's the surf forecast. Big next 2 days, and then comes down on Thursday. See how it's green offshore Friday. Crab fishermen, remember we talked? And where is that? That's on Wednesday the 10th. So the 10th, this lines up a little bit with that next storm, right? So the swell comes up a little, but still not massive. Mavericks isn't breaking, although we'll take a look at Mavericks today. Ocean Beach, how come you're not out there, Bill? Because it's 6 to 10, and I want nothing to do with it. Easy paddle out. This is, you don't see any crab fishermen, but the crab fishermen move is, I know I talked about them. God love them. But they'll weigh it out. If you're a crab fisherman, you want that right there. See that? That's a channel. It's deep water. Here's the rip going this way. There's a deep water channel here. So you'd stand in this water and you'd up to your knees, and the tide's moving, 6 inches an hour or more or less, and you don't realize it. And next thing you know, you get swept into this channel, and you're done. You're done. Although we have a lot of lifeguards out there. Sean Scalen, who's a good friend of mine. If you've ever been to Ocean Beach, you know Sean. I've surfed with Sean for 1,000 years, but Ocean Beach. And you're like, Bill, it's not that big. There's sets. You can see this guy sitting way out there. That means the set. They're not on the inside bar. They're on the outside bar. There were days when I would go out, but I don't want to go out. I don't want to go out today. I think I'm going to go out Thursday. It gets real small. This is Mavericks. And I thought this would be interesting only because it's not very big, but you can see the bumps, right? The tide's going low, and you can see it trying to break. And that's an indication of, right, it's hitting the bottom. There's enough swell. For Mavericks to show, if there's enough, it's showing a little bit. You put 3 more feet on this, it starts to whitewater. You put 10 more feet on it, and you've got a wave. So here you see it making it to the inside reef. This is Mavericks from the tower. Probably they're not surfing it today because it's at low tide. You'd think there'd be somebody out now. And then this is Jalama. Sacred Chumash land. Jalama's got some rainfall, man. What did they have? 200 and Jalama, 300% of rainfall average at Jalama in that Point Conception area. Mount Shasta, nature snacks. Kind of bumming on the snow. Not a bad time to climb, actually, this period we're having. Because it's easier to climb Shasta when you think, it's easier to climb when there's no snow. It's easier to climb it when there's snow. Because you put the clamp-ons on and you can go, when you're going over the scree and the rock, that stuff kicks loose. And I think it's, I don't know, I climbed it. I just don't, I don't know which is more dangerous, but I'd prefer to climb it with snow on it. This is Mount Whitney, which is I've never gone up Whitney. A buddy of mine, Billy Bergeson, we talked about it. I don't think he ever went up either, but I know a few guys who have, and it's kind of an awesome trail. But you're up there. I mean, Whitney again is, where are you, Whitney? 14,505. That's a big one. And these mountains around it are all 13. I think that's Whitney back there. And then these are all 13. So it's surrounded by a stand of super large mountains. This is New Zealand, Waikato, New Zealand. This is that Surfline rotating camera. Can't stand it long because we got more nature snacks. This is the snow at Heavenly, not happening. This is Mammoth, top of the tram. I think a lot of these people go up for the day. I don't know, maybe it's they got ski boots on. But nice day. But the temperature at Mammoth right now, 47 degrees. 47 degrees at Mammoth. And then this is down at the lodge at Mammoth. I'm like, who are you guys? Who's got the day off? I mean, I do, but I'm old. Who's got the day off, man? And then Venice Beach. Camera may shut off, so I may knock out in the middle. I better go now. Venice Beach today is going to go 67 degrees. All right, thanks for hanging in. I'll see you back here tomorrow.